What's going on, everybody? This is Al going ahead and representing the Resident Podcast. I got our special guest today, Jakayla Cheek, and we're out here today just to let everybody know and inform everybody here in Greensboro and surrounding areas about what she does and how she's running her business and informing everyone how she's doing it. Jakayla, go ahead and introduce yourself for us today.
Yes, so as you said, my name is Jakayla Cheek. I am a local business owner here in the Greensboro area, helping and teaching families about their finances and how to protect their families and invest their money.
All right, and how long have you been doing this type of thing?
So I have been in finance since June of 2025.
Okay, and do you enjoy doing finances?
Absolutely. I love teaching families and just teaching them about their finances and how to protect their loved ones.
And what exactly do you educate the families with, and what do you provide?
So there are several different ways that I'm able to help families. One of them are life insurance. We also do mortgages. We assist with home, auto, and business insurance. We do legal services that helps with things like setting up a will or setting up a trust. And we also deal with retirement accounts, business accounts, and investment accounts.
Now, that's very interesting because some people don't even have wills put in place. I'm just going to be
Hmm.
honest with you. I'm still trying to get my will put in place. And the
Yes.
thing is about that is it's expensive.
Hmm.
Plus, I didn't know exactly what type of tangibilities or intangibilities, should I say, that are
Hmm.
needed for having the will. Could you explain to us, in brief detail, what's the best, or excuse me, what is the reasoning of having a will and why is it, a good option?
Absolutely. So it's definitely best to have a will in place to make sure that all of your wishes are carried out in case something were to happen to you. You leave things to your family and it's in writing what goes where to whom so that there's no issues when something happens to you. No one's fighting over property or money, anything like that. So it's important to have that in black and white so that your family can carry out your wishes as you have placed them.
Now, certain people that may jump on and listen to this,
Hmm.
after I do some shorts, they may say, hey, I thought that's what life insurance is.
Hmm.
So, what's the difference of having life insurance and having a will? And is it beneficial to have both, life insurance and a will?
Absolutely. So, life insurance, we like to call it income protection rather than life insurance because it's set up to protect your income in the years that you are making money.
Mhm.
So, in case something were to happen to you, your family could resume the regular activities and daily life that they were able to have when you were here in this on this earth. So that way your family doesn't have to lose their home, they don't have to give up their car. They're able to continue paying those bills as they did when you were here, on Earth.
Okay. And so having that life insurance ties into that will, correct?
Yes. That
Okay.
the will is like an extra piece of protection that just says, once I'm gone, I've already made up my mind that I want this to go here and this to go to that person. This is what I want.
Now, opposed to life insurance, I know like having a full term or, a term or, what is that the other partial, what is the other term of life insurance? Is it
Oh,
just full term and
there's whole life, universal life, and term life.
okay.
Are
Now,
the three most common.
regarding a full term life insurance, what would be beneficial for a person to say that they wanted like maybe an IUL?
So, what would be the difference between the term and the IUL? Is what you're
Yes.
asking.
Yes.
So, with term life, although it's set for a specific term is designed to give you a lower premium. And also, throughout that time that you're paying on your term insurance, when it's time to renew, because it will last you for a certain amount of years, but it is renewable, number one. And number two, at the time that you can renew it, when it gets to that point, you have the decision to decide, do I need to renew my insurance? Do I still need insurance? Or, have I been investing my money into a Roth IRA account and now I no longer need insurance because my investments are looking well? And if something happens to me, my investments cover me enough to have money for my family to pay for my funeral and everything that I need, burial, and still leave money for my family.
Now, you touched really, briefly on the Roth account, the Roth
Hmm.
IRA account. To my understanding, if you put enough interest or put enough into your Roth IRA account, you can possibly live off of one of those, if
Hmm.
I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Okay. And that also ties into a life insurance policy that you would provide for, your clients, correct?
That is correct. So what I do is sit down with my clients and do what's called a financial needs analysis, which kind of tells us how much money they need to live to pay their bills. If they have a mortgage, if they have a car, if they have, student loans, debts, anything like that. We look at basically their debts and compare it to their income, and it kind of tells us if something happens to you, it gives them a financial number, and this number is what your family would need to be able to live without you and pay the bills, pay your debt, all of those type of things.
Okay. And that type of situation is really good, for the clients, for those that are going to be listening to this podcast here later on today, later on this evening. For those who don't know, having that type of, asset in your back pocket is very good to have, especially when you're looking to have, you know, dependence, on
Mm-hmm.
these life insurance, policies, with these Roth accounts and things of that sort. You're able to, if I'm not mistaken, in full term life insurance policies with the Roth accounts or IULs, you're able to take a couple $100,000 out, that doesn't affect, your life insurance policy after about 5 or 10 years of that. So after payment towards that, if I'm not mistaken.
Now, that's one of the things that we also make sure that we educate clients on when it comes to what you stated of borrowing money from
Hmm.
those policies.
Hmm.
A lot of people that sign up for those whole life and IUL policies, they really sell those policies by telling people that, hey, you can borrow from this. But we all know, just like, like you and I know, when you say borrow, what does that mean?
I have to pay
You
you
have to
back.
pay it back. And not only do you have to pay it back with interest, right? So
Right.
what people don't understand is those types of policies where they say, oh, you'll build a cash value. It's not necessarily true. But two, you borrow that, quote unquote, able to borrow that money, you have to pay it back with interest, and it does subtract from the money that comes from your family.
Yeah. And that is
Mm-hmm.
something that a lot of clients do
Mm-hmm.
not have the education on because, as you mentioned earlier, you and I may know that because of the testing and of the exams and things
Mm-hmm.
that we have the knowledge on. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not fair for you and I to go out and go to somebody who's green and just,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I want this, this, and this, and you're like, hey, I full term, and you'll take out this in a couple of years, and then they get to
Mm-hmm.
that, and then they go
Mm-hmm.
to take out, hey, I want to take out like I was told, and they're like, well, that's not how it works, and then they
Mm-hmm.
feel, really depleted, and really their
Absolutely.
trust level goes out the window
Mm-hmm.
now for insurance, and that's why a lot of people think life insurance and health insurance is this big scam, big industry scam, which it
Mm-hmm.
can be if you're dealing
Yep.
with the wrong type of individuals who are not trying
Mm-hmm.
to educate you. Um, how do you feel about that type of scenario when it comes to your clients? As you said, you really like to, you know, give them the education. What if you ran into somebody who was already been, misconstrued, and now their demeanor is kind of low?
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with those type of individuals?
So first of all, I always reassure the client that, my goal is to evaluate what you have and point out to you why this may not be the best product. I'm not going to say, you're not going to come to me and say, oh, I have whole life. I'm going to say, oh my God, you need to cancel that right now, because you're going to be like, why? Right. So what my goal is to for you to send me that policy. We're going to get on a Zoom call. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to pull up that policy that you're paying for, and we're going to highlight the reasons why this may not be the best product for you. And I'm going to educate the client why and about the different types of policies there are, and show and ask them, if I can show you a better way to invest your money, are you open to it? And if they say yes, I teach them why term insurance is a better option versus paying, $300-400 for a whole life or an IUL that they say build a cash value, and they say that you can borrow from, because we don't deal with those type of products. We
Mhm.
strictly educate clients on the importance of buying term and invest in the difference.
That makes a lot of sense, and it's
Mm-hmm.
very helpful. I get that. Times are hard,
Mm-hmm.
and life isn't promised. Tomorrow
Mm-hmm.
we might not even be here,
Mm-hmm.
and people are thinking about their loved ones when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to life insurance, when it comes to having a will, when it has dependents and their children and things of that sort. Um, so having that education and understanding, having that knowledge and understanding as well, knowing that if I go with the term life, I'll still be
Mm-hmm.
covered if I'm
Mm-hmm.
not here. My family will be covered, excuse me, if I'm not here.
Mm-hmm.
Having the
Absolutely.
full term in the IUL, yeah, I have the benefit of being able to take away some money out of there, but I have to pay that back.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it may be beneficial if one is trying to, maybe help their kids or something, pay off a home or pay off tuition or things of that sort. That may be beneficial. But then the thing is, you still have to pay back with interest,
Mm-hmm.
what you've taken out. So having that education and having that knowledge is key. Now,
Mm-hmm.
before we wrap this thing up, I want to ask you one last question, and I want
Sure.
to see what you have, in your mind about, the community here in Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm not from North Carolina. I moved
Mm-hmm.
here 4 years ago from the West Coast. I used to live in a small city called Reno, Nevada, and I used to go
Okay.
back and forth from Los Angeles, California. I was born in Los Angeles, California. Ever since I've moved here, um, it's been kind of tough
Mm-hmm.
with the community and
Mm-hmm.
really honing in on health insurance or life insurance or that type of tie. It's been kind of an iffy thing. How do you
Mm-hmm.
feel, and how did you come about, the community, and how do you adjust with the community with this type of situation?
I would say lots of networking. I met my business partner through Facebook Marketplace looking to buy a couch. And I happened to go to her Facebook page, seen that she was in finance, got in touch with her, set up a meeting, met, her coach and some of her other business partners. And I was like, wow, like I really want to be a part of this team. They're really helping families, educating families, and they are really making a difference out in their community. And we're all over North Carolina, Maryland, DC area, Virginia, Texas. Like we are literally all over. And I think that being in touch with such entrepreneurial mindset people, that being all over in different states, we're able to impact different communities all over. And so with that being said, also networking with my business partner, going to different events, meeting different people, introducing myself, putting my name out there on social media, creating a business account that allows me to access, different people, and even more people, just to really have as many meaningful conversations as I can.
That's really good. Now, for the listeners and everybody out there that's going to be listening, what exactly is the company that you work for, and what can you provide, and how can they, reach out to you and follow up if when they see this video, they most definitely will. I know there's
Mhm.
people on the West Coast that'll see this, and how can they get in contact with you so that they may be able to get more information and more knowledge about this type of situation if they wanted to.
Absolutely. So you can contact me through my email account, that is jakayla.cheat9@gmail.com, or you can send me a text message to my personal cell phone, which is 336-268-0838. And I would love to set up a time where we can meet over Zoom. I can share some information and do education first, because I believe in educating and explaining to you why it is that I do it, what I do, how we do what we do, and then we move forward from there and make smart decisions.
Perfect. Well, we're getting ready to wrap this up, Jakayla. I really appreciate you stopping by for this quick time. We had some issues going on with some technical difficulties, everybody. I do apologize. We are going to be having a another podcast session tomorrow with a few other people. Hopefully we can get Jacayla back on a couple times and see
Absolutely.
how she's doing with the business, and maybe we can get some of her business partners on. But
Absolutely.
until the next show, everybody, you guys be safe. Jacayla, I want to thank you again. Everybody have a great, great New Year's. Please stay safe tonight. Please be home if you can. Be with your families and
Mhm.
your loved ones. Until further ado, thank you for coming by the residence. You guys have a good evening. My name
Thanks
is
for
Al.
having me.
Take care, everyone.
Bye. You
Bye-bye.
as well.